Do, do, do. There we go. Do, do, do. Wah, wah, wah. Do, do, do. Heyo, Denny. Alright. I'm just going to... Alright. I'm gonna hop into a Nitrocell run and try to make sure that, I guess, all the sound levels are fine. Woof. And that all the, and that it doesn't, I guess, come across as super laggy. So, the game sounds high to me, but I don't know if let me know how, like, you know, if my mic is too loud or if the game is too loud or quiet. Whoop. Yep. But yeah, I mean, I think ideally I would like to stream Warframe regularly and just talk about, you know, lore and story. But, you know, I don't know how well that'll work out with the setup that I have right now. But I was, you know, pleasantly surprised by the art streams, and so, you know, who knows, maybe this does work out. But the game is too quiet. It's not lagging though. That's good. Alright. Let me... Whoop. So the game is like really loud in my ears, which is... I might have to figure out how to change that. Hey Tremanth, I'm just testing out Warframe stream. How is the? Let me shoot some stuff and let me know how the game sound is. Like while I'm talking, is it not like obstructing things? Not lagging, but some background hum. Interesting. Background hum. Well, it's good that it's not lagging. I'm very surprised because, as I've mentioned, this my internet speed is pretty low, or yeah, pretty terrible. So, you know, I guess we'll see how reliable this is. It's actually starting to cause maybe some issues on my end. At least my gameplay is getting kind of stuttery, which is funny. Maybe just ambient noise from your mic. Maybe. Let me see real quick. I can hear the game, but you're a bit louder. It's fine for actions, but if you were to do dialogue without subtitles, it might be hard to hear. Okay, good to know. And of course, you know, in terms of the, like, you know, Warframe has their own sound settings, and we can turn up the transmission volume and turn down like the action volume, you know, if we need to do that. But you know, I don't think I would stream like playthroughs of quests or anything like that, because I think that would be I just don't know. You know, when I play through quests, especially for the first time, you know, I like to just do that on my own, and I do a lot of like tests. Like I poke around and stuff. Like it's not, I don't do like a very straightforward playthrough. So I think that, like, you know, when I do quests, it's not super fun to watch. But I might, you know, like I could see doing like you know how you like rewatch shows. I could like go replay through quests and like live react to them or something again. Whoops, shit. This is the issue with me not paying attention. Oof. Yeah, I don't know if I have the, I'm not good right now at, trying to, like, talk and play and pay attention to chat all at the same time. I should have picked something other than Netrocells to do. Let me pause real quick. For what it's worth, I'm on my phone. Yeah. Super cool to have just casual gameplay with it. Yeah, so that is... I literally had to pause the game to read chat. You know, for what it's worth, I maintain that streaming, you know, for better or for worse, is a skill that I'm still developing. So, but yeah, I think what I would like to do is... Oh, that was easy. It was right here. Come on. What I'd like to do is just stream, you know, doing, you know, my weekly Netrocells or Archon hunt or whatever, or like popping relics or something like that. And talk about lore, maybe like a specific subject every week, and and then there would be like gameplay footage in the background, so it wouldn't be super boring. But yeah, and we could it could be like, you know, less structured than the official videos that I put out, but still, you know, but I would be able to go over specific topics and, you know, take questions or something like that. And I you know, I think that would be fun, and we could see. So if I were to start doing that, I would have to, you know, continue to run a couple of more tests and make sure that that would be okay. And if we were gonna start that, it would be after I finish the art book anyway. And then I think once we finish the art book streams, I might adjust the time. I don't know if the time we have right now, Friday evenings, is the most convenient for everybody. So I'll run like a poll in the Discord and see. But we do get, you know, a decent amount of attention on those, which is good. But yeah, you know, I just want to find more ways to engage and, you know, do more stuff. So. Oh, hey, Ducky. I should probably just put my second monitor closer so it's easier for me to pay attention to chat, even though it's still... I have not been paying attention to my spore count or anything. This is a disaster. At least I haven't died again. Necromite. It's nearby. Where? There we go. Alrighty. So I didn't think of like something to talk about. I just sort of opened Warframe, and I was like, let me see how streaming works. So, I definitely should pick something other than Netrozells, though. This is just a little bit too above my my terrible attention span to be able to play this and talk at the same time. But I will say, when we finish this, you know, I'll switch over after, but when we finish and go into the Netrocell Vault, I can talk about some of the drawings on the wall, because I've been, you know, I took some screenshots, and I've been sort of cataloging the... Not this thing. I fucking hate the hollow veins. It's still there. You know what? I just have to kill something else and it'll die. There we go. See? That's the best thing. Wait, it didn't die. It didn't die. It's supposed to die. Alright. Okay. We open the vault, and the modifiers are all off, so we don't have to worry about things. Alright. I do think the Netrocell vaults are super cool. Not just the... like, you know, we'll talk about some of the environmental stuff, but just the animation with, like, the hands opening up, and these... So, like, the platform where the Netrocell reward is, it, like, raises up, and these wheels turn while that's happening, and then, you know, they stop turning when it's done, which is, like a neat little, like, detail. I feel like, you know, as a developer that paid a little less attention to details would, you know, have these wheels be turning all the time, but instead they, you know, like it's a real life mechanical thing, the wheels turn to raise this platform, and then they stop turning. And these portcullises on these 4 corner chambers, they also raise. I'm pretty sure they have the same like speed timing as the platform. From the UK, stream quality isn't perfect, but I'm getting no stuttering. It also seems pretty good. Okay, that is good. And then yeah, like the way that the hands open up in the vault door is super cool. You know, it's old news at this point, but I just think it's super cool. Oh yeah, from the UK, it must be pretty late or pretty early, one of those. But yeah, before we finish this mission and I switch over to something that's a little less demanding, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of my viewers who are, you know, very focused on the lore will have already gone through all the details here. But for anyone that hasn't, like Danny, there's the actual award is in the back chamber back there. But in this place, there's these 4 chambers, and they each hold. There's like a table and a blackboard with some interesting stuff on it. And you know, these are just Albrecht's vaults, and these are the stuff that Albrecht had. So we've got this. This I actually don't know what it is. This little Orican device thingy. I think that's the only thing in here. I'm not 100% sure what it is. But you know, it's just a generic Orican thing. It might have been actually something that we saw during the Glassmaker. These 2 things are a set of scroll holders / locks, and you can actually see them in other places around the vaults, but there's tons of scrolls in addition to books, and this holds 3 scrolls. It doesn't have them right now, of course. Coffee maker and coffee mug from 1999, fire extinguisher from 1999, and 2 tokens. I don't actually know which ones. I think maybe a father or a son token and a grandmother token on the bottom, but I'm not 100% sure. And also, just as a side note, an Orchid hacking console. It could be. I think it could be, but it's, you know, I don't know off the top of my head. Got disconnected, but on my end, yeah, okay. But as a side note, besides the stuff on the table itself, I want one of these in real life. It's so interesting. And then there's like the glass. There's the glass section in the middle. I wonder if. Yeah. Okay. So it's got legs on the sides. And then it's got this transparent glass section, and it's also thick. And you could tell it probably does something. It's got like little ports, or like, you know, like a, you know, there's like a USB interface or something that you could like touch, and like, I don't know what this table's supposed to do. And there's another interface on the other side. Like, you can tell this table's supposed to do something, even though you don't know what. So that's pretty cool. Oh, whoops! I passed over this. This is a Duviri mask. And this is specifically the Vagabond's mask. The Vagabond is a guy who shows up in Duviri, and it's the man on the wall. You can tell because he laughs when you approach him, and then he disappears when you look away, and he's missing the index finger on his right hand. You know, so these are all like clues that it's the man in the wall. But it's just called the Vagabond, and he appears in specific locations in Duviri based on the emotion, but this is the Vagabond's mask, and that's very interesting. We know that Albrecht has been to Duviri. You know, why does he have the Vagabond's mask? Of course, we know that he's interested in the Man of the Wall. And here we have, by the way, a clock from 1999. All the clocks are set at 0. I don't know if that's just a technical, like, I don't know if DE meant to do that or if they just don't want to bother putting in like numbers. But yeah, all the clocks that we've seen in the Hulvania Mall are set at 0. He has black eyes. Yes, the Vagabond does have black eyes. So this is interesting in that this is like a Vagabond mask with actual eyes. Oh, does it have like? It's a little hard to tell. I think it has like pupils and stuff, like actual eye structure. But the Vagabond has like just pure black eyes. This thing is just some Orican thing. This is, I don't know if anyone recognizes it, but this is the item from the Arcane Vault. Or the, what is it? The Arcane Machine. It's just called the Arcane Machine. From the new Strange Quest. This is like an item deep in an Orican Vault, and it's got, you know, what the details of the new Strange Quest are not really explained at the time, and DE didn't do a good job of, I guess, following up on this, but the interpretation that I have is that the Arcane Machine was a signal relay to tell Hunhao that the Sentients were all dead, or sorry, the Tenno were dead, the Orican were dead, and it was time for Hunhao to wake up and time for Nata to like resurrect him and the other Sentients. This was a signal that was supposed to be sent after Nata/Lotus killed the Tenno, but that did not happen. She had a change of mind and change of heart precipitated by Ballas hacking her, essentially. So she didn't kill the Tenno, and she didn't resurrect the Sentients. But this is like a piece of a Sentient that was found on a machine that was supposed to send that message, and it never got triggered. But it does get triggered during the new Strange, and so that has been my interpretation of the quest. But like I said, DE has never followed up on this, and it's interesting to see this thing here because it, you know, in some ways it shows that they haven't forgotten, even though they still haven't mentioned it. And but there's been, I think, a lot in the recent year or two. There have been a lot of DE sort of bringing up and mentioning old lore topics and not expanding on them necessarily, but just mentioning them to sort of reiterate that those are still canon and present in the lore. Things like the Lorists, things like Oro, you know, which hadn't been talked about for a while until it gets brought up. So you know, this is, I think, is another example. They're probably not going to talk about the Arcane Machine because its significance is gone. But, you know, they're just putting it in the vault to just be like, hey, could it potentially be the mask of a Persecutor Luminous, as I think the same model? I believe, yes, I think you're right, that the Persecutor Luminous that you see during Kullervo's fight, do you have the same mask? I don't think Persecutor Luminous's Limini appear in any other, anywhere else. But yeah, the mention of Oro was crazy. I know, right? I thought that like Stellar D would like tweet about it, be like, "Hey, look at this," but I don't remember that he did. Because he mentioned Oro a lot in his videos. This is just like an Orican light thing. Here we have some. So these are like 3-ring binders, also from 1999. Yeah, this is a set of binders, which is funny. It's always funny to see that here. This is like an Entrati machine that is mostly used as a bait station during isolation vaults, but I think it shows up in some other places as well. The reason I suggested the difference in the eyes, you know, to my memory, which is extremely fallible, I think that the Persecutor Limini also have black eyes, but I could easily be wrong, because it's been a while since I fought Kullervo, and I don't pay attention to those things. Behind the mask. Yeah, okay. I think I've seen people try to like look behind the mask, but I haven't, so I don't really know. And so going to the blackboard here, this I believe is the only place in the whole labs where this piece of art. Each of these has like a main blackboard drawing, and they only appear in the Netra cells. You've got this like alchemical. This resembles a lot of like the alchemical symbols and like Kabbalah symbols that you see some. This right here is an alchemical symbol, I think for maybe Jupiter. But a lot of these other ones I don't really recognize. They just made up these symbols, and I don't think they're like the Entradi void tongue symbols either, because those are stylized off of Mayan glyphs, and these are. So like you have this looks like a 4 with like a big swoopy thing that is like I said, the let me just look that up real quick. Yeah. Yeah, it's Jupiter, and it also tin, which is like the metal for it. But these other ones I don't really super recognize. I don't think they are anything, but it's clearly sort of trying to be in the same style. It also looks a little bit like Korean Hangul writing, especially like these symbols that incorporate the boxes. But these aren't really anything. This one sort of looks like a Taurus, like a bull symbol. But yeah, so this is like clearly some sort of like alchemical notation, but it leads him to 1999, the year. So Albrecht has divined or calculated specifically 1999. Yeah, and then Albrecht, of course, was involved in alchemy. There's that whole game mode that talks about the different elements. So in this room, we've got Albrecht's hat, his little train conductor hat. This device here was shown off in Nightwave Glassmaker. It was like a radio transducer or something like that, or like an antenna. But it's just like an Oricon, communications device. This is. I feel like I know what this like plate is, but I'm not remembering off the top of my head. This is a Shazin, and I wonder. There are a variety of Shazins, and some of them are specific to the lore. Like Kira has a specific Shazin, and I wonder which one this one is. It might be Kira's Shazin, but I don't know. This is a Vitruvian, actually. This is the only time you see this is during the sacrifice quest, when you man, there's like all sorts of the only time you see this is in sacrifice quest, when it's sitting in like the lab and you pick it up. But this is it's like a device on a it's like a medallion on a chain, but it's not like animated or anything, so as far as I know, you never pick it up, so this is just like a static object like this. But this is the Vitruvian, so it's a Oricon like data, like a computer basically. Is this something from the dorm zone kitchen? I don't think it's like an actual like plate. And it's too golden, and the Tenno stuff on the Zeramin is like gray, and it's sort of got the same smooth curved aesthetics as Zeramin stuff, but it's not like golden, except for like the public stuff like the statues. Although I think maybe the silverware in oh shit. Ah, motherfucker. I spent too long in here. It's gonna fail me. Unless I kill something. Good thing something has shown up. There we go. I forgot, oh shit. Not a hollow vein? If any of you don't know, of course, there is a hidden fail timer on every... Corbu Shazin, thank you for pointing that out. There's a hidden timer in all missions that where if you spend too long without killing anything, it starts a 60-second timer, and if you continue to not kill something, it fails the mission. But of course, in the labs, of all places, this is not a huge problem because and this is like the thing I hate the most about Albert's labs, is that enemies pop up all the time, constantly. So I guess we can stay here because all I have to do is walk a little bit and find some spawning enemies. Here's another one of these plates, by the way. I don't know. Here's two more. I think these are actually... No, I don't know what these are. Yeah. No, I don't know what these two small Orican, like, golden devices are. But here we've got, like, a Nokia phone and the motherboard, the Palm 2 motherboard that we had to find from a Netracell, by the way, during the Whispers in the Wall quest. And so here, on this page, we have one of the tech rot, you know, things, the basic monsters that that we've seen in 1999. Along with like a little, I wouldn't call this a helix. This is just like like one spiral around a straight line. I guess that's a single helix, not like the double helix that we're more used to. And you've got some more alchemical symbols. There's not much I can really make sense of here, except for this sort of design. You can see this recur. I don't think that it is. The... It's very similar. That's why I was like pausing a bit. It's... You really think it is? I don't think this is the... Because it's got this part that goes down. The upside down. Upside down. Hold on, I have to fucking pull up the logo. You know what? You're right. This thing is in the middle of the logo. Okay, so that's why I was confused, because I was able to zoom in on like the actual Orcan, what is it? The secret history replica is like a sphere, and then it goes down, and I just cut off the part that goes down, so you get the circle, and the circular part is my logo. And you're right that in the middle of like the green disc there is a smaller golden thing, and it is this. So you're right. This is a part of the secret history logo that is in that I've used for the logo of the Orican Archives. And I didn't recognize it because it was just a single part of the logo and not the whole thing. But yeah, Citavi, you're right. This is part of the secret history thing, which is, by the way, like the model that is like more common, or the item that is like more common is the secret history, but it was used first for something else, for a legum. It was like and again during the Glassmaker, and so that's why I used it because as the logo. Well, because it was very logo shaped, but because it was a legum, not because it was like the secret history, which is just like a gossip book that like this guy wrote about the Orican court. Unfortunately, it is the same model for both, so I don't really have the luxury of saying it's one or the other. Other things in this room, there's only one thing on this bench, and it is this. This is a... it's a musical instrument. What is it called? I forget what this thing is called. But this is... this is a musical instrument that you see in the... the Conjunction Survival, the Circulus. The Circulus room that appears on Conjunction Survival, it has strings of energy when you see it there. There's no strings here, but it's like a stringed instrument that they play. But yeah, so here's the Tekrot. I was interrupted by the timer. But this little like circular symbol with the rays, that does show up on a couple of the other graffiti. And so on this page, this is actually one of the, or on this wall is like a hand-drawn sketch, just like directly on the marble wall, which happens a lot in the labs. And this is one of the 7 designs that recurs in various places. And this is, one of the more notable ones, because you see a hand, and then one of the fingers is cut off, and from that finger is extending what I interpret as like a timeline. It's like a straight line, and then you've got a double helix around it. And then it goes towards like a sphere or a ball. I don't know if this is maybe supposed to be Earth, like the Earth, but that doesn't make too much sense to me. And then there's also another sphere, by the way, behind the hand. I don't know what that... and there's a tiny sphere at the beginning of the timeline branching off from the hand here, too. And then up here, this almost looks like a different... Like it's a separate drawing because of how far away it is. But it is part of the same drawing. Every time you'll see the hand with the timeline, you will also see this. This, I mean, from my background, this looked like an antibody, like in the immune system. Stylistically, I'm imagining that's not what it is, but that's just the first thing that I think of. This like Y-shaped thing. Let me try to. Usually, when I do capture. Try to capture like things on walls like this, I bring along a sniper rifle. So the Nell is actually usually what I use here, which is like the sniper pistol, to get a better, to get a better view of this. But you have this this Y-shaped thing, and I have like less idea about what this is than the rest. The top one looks like the cosmic clock. The top one looks like the cosmic clock. Do you mean this? The Y-shaped thing? Does it have this kind of a thing? No, I've not uploaded the graffiti to the archives. I've gathered them, and I want to just edit the images a little bit to make things clearer. And maybe do like a little bit of pointing out, as I am like right now, anything that seems recognizable to me. But I think, this type of thing where like going through like, oh, this means that the timeline is blah, blah, blah. Like that's like the type of speculation that I'm really bad at, unfortunately. The Y-shaped thing, it is interesting. I'll have to see, now the cosmic clock is gone, so we'll have to go through the old footage and see what it looked like. But I don't remember like that sort of like the antibody shaped whatever. So in this room you have another token. I think this might be a mother token. You have the Tales of Duviri storybook, which again, we know he went to Duviri, and we know that he heard his daughter's voice. Which was really funny. How apparently, because we hear it as like a gameplay thing, but apparently everybody in Duviri hears the narration of the day, which is like, what do they think that is? Although there are, like Lucinia, she knows that she's a character in a book, which is if you listen to her dialogue. And I wonder if the other citizens of Duviri do as well. And the book itself exists in Duviri, which is just like a level of, Inception. There's a couple of characters who read it. They just sit around reading the book. So, the book itself makes a lot of sense that it's here. Here we've got a 1992 phone. The AX-52 from 1999. Arthur's gun. Okay. We know that, by the way, we know that Arthur and the rest of the Hex, they did work. They started off working for Albrecht and Trotty. He says this in his grimoire notes. There's a whole section about how he goes there and he treats them and he makes them better, and some of them they help him. How exactly they help him is not clear. It's like I'm picturing him like sending them off on missions and stuff like that, but like why? But it looks like by the time that we get there, I'm gonna run out here and kill something real quickly so the timer doesn't start. I don't know when it'll start, but we don't know, like, from what part of 1999 we've seen so far, it looks like by the end of that year, they all, like, don't like him. They all don't like Dr. Entrati, and they're trying to, like, find him and kill him. And it's interesting, like, I wonder if they blame him for the whole thing. Oh, we got a lumbering fragment. It's like you wonder what happened to turn them against Dr. Entrati, but I think just because that's how 1999 is going to go from what we can see, I think it is important to keep in mind as we play through it that they started off working with him. So that would explain why he has this rifle, or a potential reason why he has this rifle. And then, of course, we have the diagram of Owie, of, Proto-Mag. So, he takes people who are infected with the Technocyte, which I guess they also call the Tech Rot, and he heals them with Helminth infusions, and this, probably hybridizes with the Technocyte to basically get, like, sort of a partial Warframization. And so, I might be misremembering. Did they say something about him not being honest or maybe keeping secrets? I mean, yeah, he's definitely, like, the type to keep secrets. That's always, when it comes to, TV shows and stuff, whenever there's, like, they're like, oh, you're not being honest, you're keeping secrets. And it, like, breaks up the whole, like, protagonist group. I always thought that was, like, a really cheesy, because, I mean, like, there are better reasons to, I think it's like fake drama, to create stakes and stuff and to move the plot along, but that always seemed like the dumbest reason, because, like, everybody is keeping secrets, and, if you're going to trust someone to, like, work with, I think there's also, like, a level of trust that, like, they know what they're doing. I don't know. It's just a minor thing. But yeah, I think I don't remember exactly all of the Hex's dialogue from everything that we've seen. But that's very plausible that, they just decide that he's keeping too many secrets. I'm excited to dive into the story when it comes out later this year and find out. But yeah, we have this diagram of Mag, of Owie. So it looks like the process of becoming a proto-frame is at least partially helped along by designs, unless these are observations, but these very much look like blueprints. So it looks, and again in the weird alchemical notation with like angled lines and like little swoops and boxes. So this text is distinct from the other types of text we've seen, including the Entrati, the glyph text from the Requiems. Good night, Satavi. It was good to see you around. As the same level of cheese is ending a really long goblin storyline with like, well, it was all a dream. Yeah, that's that's like the most frustrating thing, right? But yeah, so you've got Mag. Even the brain is like detailed here. Like, look, like the whole brain. You wonder how much of that interacts with it. And then up here, you've got like, just by itself, you've got like that little part that floats separate, off of the edge of the forearm. It's like also got its own little entry up here. I wonder what that like is or what purpose it serves, And then on this wall you have Arthur / Excalibur, also with his brain. I do wonder how much of this almost looks like an electrical diagram, like a circuit board. Actually, less so the more I look at it. But I wonder if DE has explanations, like internal definitions for these glyphs and these, this text. It would really, it would really be very cool. So on this table we've got Arthur's sword. Like a VCR? I'm worried about how many of my viewers don't know what a VCR is. But and then like a big old TV to go with it. Archimedean Yonta's, or the same type of crown worn by Archimedean Yonta, possibly by other Archimedeans. I've mentioned this a couple of other times, but it seems that Archimedeans, they have a dark gray gem that is on their forehead, like in a crown or diadem of some sort. Yonta's crown is like this. It's like golden and like kind of ornate, very Orican like. Suda, you can see her diadem in the What Remains webcomic, and it's gray, it's not gold, it's very simple, but it also has the gray gem, so it's notable. So this is like an Archimedean forehead stone. It could be Otak's. We didn't know this when the Netrocells were released, that Otak was an Archimedean. We know that now as of Dante Unbound. So, maybe this was Otak's. Considering that Otak would have worked for or with Albrecht, it is also conceivable that he would have had like the more ornate kind of gear versus Suda's simplistic garb. Please be Yonta's. I want her to have more relevance. Yeah, I would love for her to have more relevance. It's I think hinted at in her dialogue, although that's not certain, that she knew Albrecht personally. It would be great to have some sort of there's so many characters Yonta's oh, what happened to Cephalon, or what happened to Archimedean Suda, and it's we should tell her. Right? And then, human Lloyd is man, I wish I could talk to the family, but we got to keep things secret. And it would be great if in the future, when secrecy is less required, you could see that reunion. I tried to use the Ash Assassin gem to go for an Archimedean look. Yeah, so I've said, and I think this is a little tenuous, that because of the Archimedean gem and the Scoria gem, which is explicitly discussed in Ash's Laverian story. I think it's possible that certain of the classes within Orokin society were designated by gemstones, specifically on the forehead. And it would be cool to get some more explanation of that. Yanta and Suda meeting would be amazing. I mean, yeah, I would love to see, because Suda has like probably, I was gonna say more knowledge now, but that's actually not a given, because Suda had access as an Archimedean to like, it looked like all Orokin records or something like that. If you see the webcomic, she's like in just a tower of books and scrolls. Just finishing up, we've got more papers from 1999, and like, manila folders. These look like Excel spreadsheets or timetables, and like a ballpoint pen. You've got this little golden thing. Again, it's hard for me to, I really should have gotten something that I could zoom in more with. But this is the face mask plate that the Corrupted wear, and also that Albrecht wore in his journey, like the ones that are illustrated in the Netrocells, or in the Necroloid chamber, and now in the Sanctum. He wore this, and he also wears it on the statues. He's not wearing it in other depictions of him that we've seen, but, it is associated with him, but it's also worn by the Corrupted inside Orokin Towers. You could use the scanner and crouch. I've been crouching a little bit. Okay, this does actually zoom in a good amount. Yeah, I don't really recognize this. But thank you for the tip. Still didn't work. But yeah, and then, of course, by the way, on the walls, the most of the wall, aside from the blackboard, on all 4 of these rooms is just bunches of scrolls behind glass. I love this aesthetic. I want, like, my dream is to, like, have, like, a study, in my house with, like, and I would just basically pattern it after, like, the labs with the, with like the red chairs and the books with like golden, detailing and stuff like that. If the HUD gets in the way, you can turn off the HUD in settings. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I was gonna. I got a good enough look at it to be like, I still don't know what it is. So this is another one of the. So now we're in like one of the little side chambers. There's another. That's actually too much zoom. There's another one of these drawings. This one's harder to see. This, I think, is one of the most abstract ones. It's harder to tell what it is. But you've got maybe like a portal or something here. And then you've got this triangle shape, which, based on the other diagrams, is probably the finger of the man on the wall. And then, but this, it's like blown up here. And then you've got these 3 U shapes, one back behind the portal and 2 on the other side. I don't know what that means. And then you've got this cube, which I think represents like eternalism and like a nexus of timelines. We'll see it in a couple of other places if I can find them, but because it also shows up in other sketches. But it reminds me of like Euleria's lesson on eternalism and time. So I think, this maybe looks like the finger is like breaching this or interacting with it in some way. You've got this. This is one of the ones that has like fewer recognizable details. You've got the little helix timeline here. And really not much else. Again, this part here with the grid, this looks a little bit like a circuit diagram. But yeah, this is another one of the 7. There's like 7 distinct pieces, and then there's the 4 big ones on the blackboard here. This cork board is from 1999. It's got the Proto-Orokin script. I believe that this has been translated. I have not personally taken a look at this, but I think this has been translated and it's just like random stuff like grocery lists and coffee orders. On the other end, you've got... So there's, I think, 2 pieces missing. Yeah. So these two, by the way, have the same... I will actually briefly turn off the HUD. So I can zoom in with the scanner. Gray when he's just Albert Trotty. I mean, you know, it would be... I'd just be hanging out in my study. The painting when he's blue, yeah. One of the fat faces of time. There's a hand in there. There's a hand in there. So this and this have a few things that are... So in the corner, on the left side of this, you see another, like a sphere, with a bunch of lines coming out of it, and you also see it sort of in the bottom middle on here. And we saw that in the Technosite drawing here. So I do wonder what the significance of that is. In this one, you also see what looks like an eyeball or a vitrium down at the bottom. Next to it, it looks like you have what looks like a lens bending light. And you also see some arrows, which on the light paths that they all go towards into the lens, which is, I mean, not how light is supposed to work, but you know, this is obviously more arcane than normal science. The one near the coffee orders had a hand. Yes, let me run back over there again. Oh my god, I forgot. Yes, I've noticed this before. Like I said, I'm cataloging these, but I forgot about it right here, and it's I didn't notice it. You're right that there's a hand right there. It curiously does look like it has all 5 of its fingers. The pinky is a little... Yeah, I think the pinky is there. But yeah, it's got a hand, and then I don't know what's going on with the wrist there. It looks like a stacked series of whatever. And then the T in the middle, I don't know if that's supposed to be like the palm lines. Those don't really look like, you know, the palm lines. There's like 2 horizontal ones and then like a curved diagonal one. But maybe the T is their stylistic representation of that. Or maybe it means something else. Maybe it stands for something. Shit. Fuck. I guess they only give you the timer once and then they stop letting you know. That's on me. I mean, we were done looking at stuff, but damn it, that is annoying. That's like a whole Netracell gone. Did that count my... Yeah, it didn't count it, so I didn't waste it. I just wasted all of that time. What, like an hour? I don't know. That is annoying. But I mean, we didn't have much to say. We had looked at it all. And so whenever you see, when you go through the labs and you see like the cool stuff on the wall, there's four designs that have like hands or fingers or something like that. It's a lot of Naramon XP. Oh yeah, I'm maxed out Naramon. That was my main focus tree. I've actually maxed out, I think, all of these. So now I don't really have anything to spend this on. I like bought the extra stuff too. I thought that would whatever. So there's like 5 designs, or sorry, there's 4 designs that are like hand drawn sketches of like, I don't really know how to describe it, but then there's 4 of them. Sorry, there's 3 of them that look like this, and they're like, they're like line drawings, equations, writing, and some basic sketches. There's only 3 of these, and so whenever you see a bunch of this type of thing where there's like it's covered in writing, it's actually the same 3 designs rotated and just slotted next to each other. There's like places where it's like very dense and there's tons and tons and tons of it, and this is also another good example, but this is only 3 like patches of designs and just repeating. Those look pretty much the same as in the Netracell. I see the eyeball and the helix. Yes. So we saw all 3 of them, and I didn't get a chance to go over the 3rd one before it just failed the mission. But yeah, they're all in here. But just to go back to here, this is where the cosmic clock used to be. Of course, it's now underneath this floor, or it's got sucked into the void portal under. That is, I guess, still churning away underneath this probably. Better not accidentally hit the switch. And then the Netracell, or the Vitruvian... Let me turn the HUD back on, actually. The Vitruvian entries are now accessible if you walk up to these wall paintings. They used to be in little consoles right here, like where I'm walking. But those consoles got sucked into the portal along with the cosmic clock. But now we have these like big window or wall design thingies. They sort of look like windows. And you just go up to the podium, and you can. Thank God you can exit out of that. But you see here, Albrecht is wearing that little headdress thingy. I guess is most. This is the best place to look at it. But yeah, and it's also broken. But it's broken like from the start. Here's like him in the bell. And it's already broken. So it didn't get broken during the thing. It's interesting. Either Albrecht thought his notes were really aesthetic, thought they were important, or was going a little crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't read into this. I think the fact that there's 3 and they're just tessellating is just DE saving up some space. Or just not... They do this, they reuse stuff, and if you ever stop to think about it, there's some things in some places that don't make a ton of sense. No. And so yeah, I think there's probably Albrecht had a lot more comprehensive notes, but DE only puts in like the 3 of those like designs. Fishinachi. Yeah, let me just wrap up. How long have I been streaming? I'm trying to figure out where I can see this. I know I can see it somewhere. But I actually forgot when I started. Around... Okay, it looks like around an hour. Let me just... Oh, he had one of his new lines there, actually. Stella. Ugh. I wasted a budget. I used to just buy these all the time, but and I spent a lot of the Stella I have on this. But now I need to. I need Stella. For my Archon shards. So now I don't ever... I give Lloyd none of my Stella, because I need every drop. Description says 64 minutes ago. Yeah, that's what I thought. But if we look at my Archon shards, I mean, nowadays I have a ton. You know, I don't worry about them. I'm actually running a little bit low on the blue ones. But just for like my own like long-term plans, you know, I want to just that's not what I want. You know, combine all of my base ones into Tau Forged ones, and then just be like, yes, I've got just a shit ton of Tau Forged shards. But I'm running out of Stella. Look at this. I can't even fuse a single one of these. Which is a shame. Yep, I made myself broke. Here's my flower garden. Anyway. Alright, let me... I guess there's not really a point to continue the stream. I am gonna run through a couple of Void Relics, just so I can see if I can strike out a happy middle ground with being able to pay attention to the game and being able to like talk. So I'll just run through like what Saren skin is that? I saw that the message just a little bit too late. I think it is the... If it's not the Saren Prime skin, because I don't generally use Tenogen. If it's not the Saren Prime skin, it's the Lunar Renewal one. From like Lunar New Year. But it's like I don't usually use a lot of Tenogen. So it's not one of those. Alright, let's... Why is the door still locked? Oh, it's because she has to... Does she have to go through her dialogue? Yeah, there it is. Yeah. She has to... That's... That is... annoying. You know, sometimes... They have to, let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna continue to turn the game volume down. I need to figure out how to... just get a better handle on the... Is the game quieter now for you guys? Oh, hey, Phenomenist. That reminds me, my friend named her Helminth Ordat so she could have Ordis Ordat. Ordis Ordat. That is funny. Alright. I tried to turn the game volume down, and I'm hoping that actually just affected me and not the stream, but I don't know if that's the case. So, is it quieter now than it was like 30 seconds ago? Where's all the reactant? I guess just not a lot of it has been dropping. Game is quiet, definitely not too loud. Yeah, I guess it doesn't super matter if like the game volume is like incredibly quiet. I mean, I would like it to not be completely inaudible, but no spawns. Yeah, let's what is going on with the spawn right here? Maybe we're a bit too spread out. which might be my fault. I didn't notice a difference. That is good. If that is the case, then that means that it would be... I've figured out how to make it so that the game is not too loud in my ears, but isn't without changing how it comes across on the stream. There's just too many buttons and dials and stuff on too many applications to figure out what is controlling what. Alrighty. Well, anyway, so yeah, I think, like I said, I will keep running some, I guess, this test went better than I thought it would. I really thought that it just, like, nothing would come across. Obviously, it's still, like, a priority for me to figure out a way to upgrade my current internet situation. But, I think I'll run in the future, like, a few more of these, like, unofficial... someone does not have 10 reactant yet. A few more, like, just sort of, like, less official streams, gameplay streams, and we'll continue with the art book streams, of course. And then in the future, we can, once we finish with the art book, we'll basically use the same time slot or a similar one to, just do some casual Warframe gameplay, and I can, I'll probably prepare like a specific subject each week to go through, and we can have questions and stuff like that. I really like Dante. Is this frame cool? Explain to me like I haven't played this game in a decade. Gray learning to be a streamer instead of a lore collector. See, I've collected the lore, and now I gotta distribute it, and in a variety of formats. So there's actually some work I need to do for the Orkin archives. I still need to the Jade, not the Jade, Lotus Eaters. The Lotus Eaters. I've got the transcript all written out. I just need to finalize that and publish it, and that will include Lotus's new dialogue and Lloyd's new dialogue, because Lloyd also has dialogue for some reason. No complaints, of course, just was a surprise. Grendel Prime Chassis, here we go. So yeah, and then there are actually some new additions to the lore that I still have not added, including the Duviri circuit. The Duviri circuit alchemy, when they added alchemy, which was a while ago. It was not super recent. They added... Teshin obviously has new dialogue for that, which I have not gathered. And they also added a few new lines in this latest, the Lotus Eater update, about for excavation, so I need to go get those too. But those will just be, updates to the existing pages. There's... And, nothing like splashy or like lore relevant. I'm imagining. I'm just sort of like going through my to-do list. Gray graces us with understanding what's happening in funny Space Ninja game. Hello, Ninja. Whoever's doing the music should hurry up. Well. I think, yeah, things are just now settling down, you know, where I can get back to focusing on the video. Was the next video, which is about the Old War, has been in production now for quite a long time. Well, it's been paused in production for quite a long time. So, yeah. But I should be able to sort of restart that engine, and then once I do, there will be we can start to be more regular in terms of the new lore videos. I haven't been to Duviri in ages. I know. Yeah, honestly, I've had not just for working on the Warframe lore videos, but I also just haven't had a lot of time to play Warframe. So, I used to have a pretty decent weekly sort of schedule where I would knock out all the basic activities, and then I just do a bunch of Duviri stuff for the arcanes. I've got a lot of the Duviri arcanes basically close to max. I finished the circuit, which was the main way. I got all the incarnates from the Steel Path circuit. Although, excited to see the new ones that'll drop, I think, next month? I think 5 new arcanes are coming with the Kome and the 5 Fates. And I believe they still said that is coming out in October, which is wild. Book characters have too much emotion. The Old War is 80% of all Warframe lore. Yeah, so, of course, almost everything, every story we hear that takes place, it takes place during the Old War, because every story is, the Laverians and stuff, they have, if it involves a Warframe, it has to at least be, it can't be earlier than the Old War. So a lot of stuff does take place during the Old War, but, it's not like I'm gonna talk about, Nova, actually, I was going to say that, but Nova's Laverian does get slightly mentioned in my video, so never mind. But I'm not going to mention every single thing that happens during the Old War, because that just doesn't seem useful, but I will be going through, basically, the sequence of events, because it was, I think, fairly complicated. And it's more complicated, it deserves to be, because it was a several 100-year-old war from what we can tell. So, but there's twists and turns, and at some points the Sentients were winning, at some points the Orokin were winning, and so it would be good to get a baseline of the sequence of events that happened and how and why it turned out the way that it did. So. I'm looking forward to being able to publish that, and I'm tackling a lot of the core subjects for my first set of videos, so that they can be referred to later, which is why I did the Orokin, which is the most generic subject of all time, but is definitely deserves to be examined to a certain level of detail. But yeah, so talking about the Old War, and then talking about the New War, which I honestly think hasn't had, this is of course the big complaint, is that it hasn't had much of an impact on the story moving forward. Good RNG this match. But the New War was also extremely confusing, I think, for a lot of people, especially the most casual type of player. I'm actually gonna leave. I think the New War was confusing for casual players and people who weren't there for the various types of events that also tied into it. So, so I am going to be doing one on the New War as well, just so, we have something like a reference point. Alright, let me just leave, and then I will... I do like Conjunction Survival, though I think pretty soon I will have most of the arcanes I need from this. Now that I have gotten pretty much all like the Warframes of weapons, although I need like Sevagoth, because I haven't been playing since he released. So I still need to farm Sevagoth and Sevagoth Prime and his weapons and stuff. But there's not a lot of like specific items. Like no other like weapons or warframes I need to farm. So now my farming targets are arcanes mostly, just to getting everything up to maximum rank. So yeah, Lua Survival is good for that, and also some of the the dojo pigments drop from the Thrax enemies that pop up here. So knocking that out too. And I like being on Lua. That's one of my favorite tile sets. Honestly, it's hard to pick a favorite tile set between like Lua and the Zariman and the Entrati Labs, of course. I would say like the Orc and Void, but that's just been around for a while and it's no longer like exciting, even though it's like a lot of it is shared with like Lua. All right, let me take a look at chat. Explain Duviri to me like I haven't played this game in a decade. Nope. No. There will be no curator songs. I think that no one wants to hear that. The gameplay for Duviri is more RPG-like. Yeah. I still gotta do 2 Aura Worms for the gold potato Akrithis has. Oh yeah! What does Akrithis have? That is... There's not a way to access this, is there? I think you have to like go to the Dorma Zone and see what she has, but yeah, I just haven't I haven't gone to Duviri in a long time. I should maybe that's another thing that I could do during Warframe streams, because that's like a pretty low intensity activity and it's just fun to walk around. Duviri is a little bit like Cetus in that it's like a set open world, although it changes with like it's like a day-night transition, but it's actually like 5 emotions that transition, which is funny. Me just singing Sleeping in the Cold Below. Return of the Sentience to the Night of the Naga Drums. Yeah. Yeah, that is like the time period I'm covering with the old war, from when the Sentients come back to the Night of the Naga Drums, and then I have a brief discussion about the collapse. Although I feel like the collapse does merit its own video. So it just is sort of gets briefly talked about here. Mandicord stream, yeah. New War casually made an adult a kid. Yeah, the New War was a lot of information at once. Yeah, I think even if you were invested and like actively playing, there's so much. Oops, that's not what I want. There's so much in like the New War quest that is basically like implied. Like they don't. It's like we as players have to sort of fill in the gaps on exactly what happened and how and why. So yeah, I think I think it was confusing for like a bunch of reasons, and just it's not like inherently confusing. It's just confusing on first like glance, and some people they don't go past that. They have a first glance and they say it's weird, and then they sort of move past it and stop thinking about it. And I would like to be able to explain the new war to those people as well. The Lotus Eater's transcript would be the quickest thing to add ever in the history of writing. It was very short, and then I just like sort of stepped away from it for a while. But I want to. I just want to. I mean, yeah, the transcript was short. I just need to finish it up. The Zariman tile set is one of my favorites. It is made to be explored. There's I do love how the Zariman and some of the other tile sets, they're like, oh, we're going to take all the big good tiles from this and make them into Captura scenes. I love that. I hope they continue to do that because, it lets us appreciate the work that they put into it. Each room you can tell has been like crafted by a team spending a lot of attention to detail, and let's examine it, which is hard to do in a mission. There's a room in the Zariman tile set that does not have a Captura scene, but it's like one of the ones that clearly does, and it's like the dining room. It's got like a long dining table with a bunch of chairs and a chandelier. Because it's another one of those rooms where you're like, this was set up. You can like tell that they're trying to tell a story here, but you can't. It's like a dead end room, so it is easy to spend some time there during a mission and explore it. But it would just be better, I think, to have as a Captura scene as well. I spent more time in the Zariman exploring than playing that part. Yeah. There's like also details in the Zariman during the New War that aren't there in like the Zariman, like the Drifter mask, and the flashlight, but that's like a story thing. Although there are the other flashlights just hanging around. It's a gold potato and a pharma. Oh, for Krithis. I'm convinced that a tenno could be anything biological with a single hand to face. Anything biological. I mean, the infested, really stretched that. So you can have some. And also, like, do you mean Tenno like the operator, or Tenno like in a Warframe? Because like a Warframe with a Tenno is obviously, powerful enough to basically, wipe the floor with any one enemy. One of my favorite tile sets in the game is seeing the Void Angel corruption for the first time. Yes, the big angel hand. Yeah, no, like going through the New War, I think has so many really cool moments in it. But like, and one of those, going through the Zariman and, you're like, what is all this black stuff? Like, okay, it like looks really weird. It's moving. Well, because like the surface of it swirls. And then it's like in these weird shapes, and then you're like, wait, these like look like people. And then there's like the big hand coming through the door, and you're like, what the fuck? The Void Angels are amazing. Just a really, really great eerie design. Really wish we got more size variation for the angels. Yeah, all the angels they're just the exact same model, which is the big hand. There's also like in the classroom, there's like the big angel. It's like flying. It's like sort of like set against the ceiling, and it's got like wings that are stretched out. But it's like that would be cool to have that, like, you know, wake up and like sort of swoop down. The classroom is really small, so it wouldn't really work. But, you know, I wish that there was more like pose variation in terms of like the active angels. And that and yeah, that they could just like sort of mess around with that a little bit more. I really want the lieutenant to find a way to reverse Wally's corruption. That would be great. Imagine saving our parents with the void ghosts of them. Yeah. Yeah, it would. Although I think, you know, I think part of like having the parents as characters, like NPCs, might stretch, like, you know, player immersion, because, you know, you're supposed to be the operator and you can customize the operator to however you want. But, you know, if your parents are there and they're like talking to you, I don't know how that might affect like how well you connect to your Tenno if there's like a disconnect, you know, there with like your personal life, I guess. Zeraman has a dining room. The dining room scene, yeah, the dining room scene. That does have a Tuval message in it. You can always, when I was searching, you know, for the Tuval messages and like, you know, the Zeraman tablets and Duviri and stuff like that, I love doing those like little hunts. But when I was like searching for all the Tuval broadcast logs, you could always basically tell where one was gonna be. You're like, oh, this is like a it's like a set piece room. You can tell when you're like, this is supposed to be a set piece for something, and the dining room is clearly, like I said, a set piece for something. And I was like, I know there's a log here somewhere. I've never seen this room before. Like I walked into it for the first time and I was like, yeah, there's a broadcast log, and I like hunted around and it's like behind the table at the chair at the head of the table. Like the Lunaro courtyard, which surprisingly does not have one to my knowledge. There's like, it tripped me up a lot because there's like one of the broken lights on the floor that is like roughly the same color as the tablet, and I was like, there it is. Wait, no, that's not. That's just a non-interactable part of the environment. But I don't think the Lunar Courtyard actually has one of the Tuval logs, which is confusing because it's another one of those set piece rooms where you're like, yeah, it's going to be here. But see, you know, the logs were either in one of those big rooms, or in like a hidden spot. If you ever found like a hidden spot where like the void plumes show up, you're like, there's also got to be a log here somewhere. Needs more knives in him. Yeah, that's Tuval. Some absolutely great Eldritch Horror. Yeah, the Zeraman is like just a great sort of you know, the Eldritch Horror, the logs that were uncovered in the ARG with the husband. I mean, every now and then I'll just like go listen to them because whoever did the husband's voice acting, which we do know his name because he does a very good job of crediting their voice actors. So the husband was David Ottavino, who I have not heard of, but he did such a great job with the those audio logs, like going through like the different range of emotions as time went on, and then especially at the end, you know, where he's like the most emotional, which was really great. I would kill for a Void Angel frame. That, you're right. Like, you know, lore wise, I don't know how that works, but I feel like they would do that because they did a Duviri frame, you know, and they explained why. But Kullervo is like Duviri-ish, you know. He's got, well, we can whoops. Because, you know, he's got. What is this stance? Is this just how he holds spear guns? I've never. Anyway, but you know, he's got the the helmet and like his knees. You've got like the skeletalness of the Dax, and like the curves, the circles of Duviri. Like he's not from Duviri according to his lore. He just is there now. Oh, and the helmet is like shaped like Dominus Thrax's helmet. The little wings on the sides that go down. So like he's like the Duviri frame, and they did a decent job of trying to explain how he's like that. So I imagine that they could have a they've sort of gone away from the Zeramin, but I hope they come back to it, because I mean, just lore wise, it's like centrally important. But they could very much have a Void Angel frame. They would just need to sit down and figure out why it makes sense in the lore. But I mean, they can kind of end up talking about it in any way. Maybe when they like defeat, or when the Void Arc is concluded and the Man of the Wall ceases to be an active threat in one way or another. Whether we defeat him once and for all, which is probably not going to be the case, or something like that. Like, but maybe you could be like, and now the Tenno have like mastered, the underlying forces that the Man of the Wall was using, and so you could be like, and here's a Void Angel frame that has been like, the Tenno have intentionally void corrupted a frame, because now they can wield a portion of the Man of the Wall's powers. I mean, this is just me spitballing, but you could see there's a variety of ways in which you could justify a Void Angel frame, and that would be super exciting. I would like it would be amazing. Why did the 4 we see come back and not others? So if you're talking about the Holdfasts and the Zeramin, they all of the Zeramin crew came back. The 4 that we see on the Zeramin are the only ones who managed to hold on to their humanity for long enough. Because all of it's actually not stated that all of them came back, but a lot of the crew, and I'm assuming all of the crew, were resurrected as Holdfasts, and as Void Ghosts, and then they get basically called to by the Reliquary and by like the Void, and if they give into it, they become Void Angels. And so the 4 we see plus Kira were like the last ones to hold out, and then Kira sort of gives in during the Zeramin ARG, and you have to fight her during Angel of the Zeramin quest. And so now there's only like 4 left. But they're not necessarily special. They just, I guess, had more willpower, and they all have a lot of guilt, by the way. And this comes out in like their the rank up scenes. They all have something about the Zeramin incident that they're guilty of, and Quinn talks about duty, like he has they have duty because of the role that they played, and so maybe that also played a part in keeping them human, and giving them reason to hold on is because they feel like they have to. But that part's more kind of a speculation. You should absolutely return for Warframe. Your parents comment on the appearance change and act like it's a normal thing because of the setting. You can get your entire body replaced and your head shoved in a box. Yeah. DE has a great cast of voice actors. Ordis and Albrecht are my most favorite. Tag for Bird 3, yeah. Yeah, Ordis is funny because he's just one of the employees at DE. A lot of the older characters. and of course Lotus, the best example of this, but like a lot of the bosses, like Alad V, Sargus Ruk, Vehek, like Groovstrike 3, they're all just like people who worked at DE at the time because they were like, we can't afford real voice actors. Captain Vor, let me see, Let Krill. I mean, I guess basically all the Grineer. I'm just like sort of going through the star chart. Pretty sure all the infested ones, whoever voices those like weird whispers or whatever, or they're not even human. They're just like weird growls. But yeah, I mean, all like the older characters were just like people, and that includes Ordis and the Lotus. But Ordis's VA has definitely been able to convey some like really good emotion, and Rebecca has talked about going through training. I don't know about like formal training, but like she like works on becoming a better voice actress because of the important role she plays, and it is probably easier given that the Lotus persona is pretty robotic and non-emotional in most cases, but there's also of recently a lot more emotional moments that Rebecca has pulled off very, very, very well. And then of course they're very good these days at hiring phenomenal voice actors for their newer content, and Albrecht's voice actor, Stefan Rudnicki, I think. Yeah. He narrates audiobooks. Oh my god, I need to listen to all of these audiobooks that Albrecht and Truddy just reads out. But yeah, he's like one of my top favorite voice actors. Ballas is, for what a terrible person Ballas is, his voice actor is like one of the best. He does like a lot of like commercials too, and so it's really funny if I mean, I've never run into one in the wild, but like you go to his profile page and you just hear Ballas like selling like a used car or something. It's very funny. Since the entire crew came back alive, I think there's a non-0% chance we've defeated one of our parents. We probably haven't, but it's not like we know anyway. Yeah, the one of Quinn's dialogue lines says, "You will be tempted to look for familiar faces among the angels, but don't give in to that urge." And I don't know if he's trying to imply like our parents, but like I mean, there's, but it's something to think about. You're right. Threw a random human into the void, and the void made it into an angel frame. Ordis is like a weapons artist. Yeah, he is. I do believe he's one of the weapons teams. Mike Leatham is the name of Ordis's voice actor. The sound team does make actual growls for the infestation. Yeah. Yeah, definitely for Deimos. I don't know about like the older. Well, I mean, the sound team has been there. The people who work on the sound team have been working on the sound team, as far as I know, for like all or most of Warframe's development. So I imagine that they had the same approach. I mean, this like they upgrade like their sound booth and their facilities and stuff, their capabilities. But I imagine their basic approach of like finding sounds and recording them and turning them into like game audio has been more or less consistent. But yeah, for Deimos, they like I was watching this, I think like a few months ago. I was rewatching like the dev stream, like COVID pandemic dev stream, where they're talking about Deimos, and it's like one of the sound guys' dog eating like wet dog food, and they use that noise for the juggernaut, the polyp sniffer juggernaut, just like gobbling down. It's so funny when they do that. Fishinachi's the vampire, yeah. Astarian Fish. Doesn't Steve voice the character? Steve voices Umbra, I'm pretty sure. Not like a real character, but there's a few. I think Steve voices Umbra's like growls and howls and stuff like that. Megan voices the rescue operator, and but she also I think she the rescue operative, like, help, I need a weapon, but I think Megan also voices Valkyr's like growls and screams, and then I think Danielle voices Saren's. They added vocal effects to her, when they reworked her, and I think Danielle voices those. And those are like not voice lines, so to say, but yeah, I think it's cool to, like, if you work on a game and they're like, hey, just in a way it's sort of like, it's like putting like a more like a part of you in the game, but like in a very visible or audible way, as the case may be. Which is why I also think it was really cool how they had like the Make-A-Wish kid at TennoCon, and they're putting him into the game as like the video game console in 1999. Like, I was like, oh, that's like such a great thing to do. I want Baldur's Gate 3, but my computer wouldn't play it. Nice day for fishing, ain't it? It's been a long time since I've gone fishing on any of the open worlds, because there's like no need for it at this point for me, and I think the last time I went fishing was for like a Nightwave thing, which when does this end? This ends in 13 hours. I have a bad habit. I think 2 of the last Nightwave seasons I have not cashed in my credit. And I just have piles of credit from 2 old Nightwave series. So I'm glad I remembered to check. Let me just I could just spend it all on catalysts, really. I have a decent... I try to keep, like, 100, 200 Nitane just on hand. There's not much these days that needs it. And then, the only other thing is catalysts and reactors, right? Yeah. Okay, I have spent my credit. I guess I can take some time in the next 13 hours and earn a little bit more. Visit a featured dojo. That's easy to do. Ballas' only redeeming quality is his Prime trailers. He's definitely a good salesman. The Prime trailers, they were all like very, from the start. The first one was Saren Prime, which was like he's talking to Margulis. But the other ones, they're like sales pitches, and then they get more and more like not. Wait, fuck! I was supposed to visit a featured dojo, not my own dojo. Some of the other Prime trailers are less and less sales pitchy and more of just like his own musings. Like the Oberon Prime trailer, that one is like, wow, all of the Orokin are wasteful and decadent, which is also like, come on, like, it's not like Ballas is separate from that. But you're also like, he wouldn't say this, right? Like in public. That's funny. I guess if you've got a feature... By the way, this is amazing. This is a dojo. People made this. These are like... Are these the Reshinter cult decorations? No, they must be a Duviri thing. Shit, this dojo is great. Dang. just two people having a conversation. Wow. But yeah, I guess if you do get like a featured dojo and you just get to stay on the star chart for what, like, I think they cycle every 3 months. You might as well like put up an advertisement. This is really great. Man, I love this. I really need to trade here. Oh wow. Oh, there's a trading post hidden in the wall here. That is... Is there anything else here? Is it just the trading post? Oh wow. Oh, there's another trading post over here. Man, this is just straight up gorgeous. All right. I just came in here to knock off a Nightwave thing. All right. Well, well, I think I can basically end the stream. It went better than I expected, and so, you know, maybe we'll see more of this in the future. But for now, you know, we'll just continue going through the art book. I think we got another month, maybe 2 on that, of just continuing to look at the art. And now we're on like the story beats. No, we're looking at like Fortuna next week, and then the Necrolisc, and then like the New War and stuff like that. So, but yeah, alrighty. Well, but it's good to know that like we've got some more types of content in the repertoire for the future. So, all right. I will see y'all around, and yeah, I think we'll just end it there.